It's refreshment time, folks.
I'm just gonna go watch a movie.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
Fiction.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
It's a laser disc.
Okay, I want the channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the weather channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Well, hello, children. Welcome. It's episode 60 of the Frog Brothers podcast. I'm Justin.
I'm Alec.
I'm Nick.
And we are the Frog Brothers podcast.
Should have all been in unison.
Yeah, Nick doesn't know anything about anything beyond stereo.
I was at the end. I tried. There was an effort. That's all I want.
You said cast.
Do not. There is
exactly. I said podcast.
Hey, so we got some cool stuff going on. The first thing to announce right now in this moment is because it's the 10th day of May. And on this day, 25 years ago, the movie Twister was released.
Oh, yes,
in the United States.
What a wiener.
And we're going to be doing a little pilgrimage to the Twister Museum in Waukita, Oklahoma this weekend.
Nick, what are you eating on over there?
Peanut M&M's.
You're not even on fucking camera right now.
I'm not?
No.
Hey, there he is.
I just now noticed that. That's what happens when you get stoned and you're the broadcaster. Yeah. I don't know. The guy in charge of this camera.
Basically.
I don't know. I suppose I could get up and move it a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose you could. I suppose you could turn that.
I suppose I can do that. Move it. Live action. I got a long-ass headphone cord.
So we'll talk about news.
This is rehearsal for
over here.
Patreon.
No. Jurassic Park. Ooh, yeah. No, you're way too far that way. This way. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh. And our official mascot of the podcast, a.k.a. Booger, is joining us as well.
He's the under-the-table man, as we like to call him.
He licks up all the peanut butter.
I will refuse to call him a fluffer because I will not be partaking in those festivities with your dog. After all, it is your dog.
Stop getting the chunky peanut butter.
He knows better. He only answers to me.
So, Hasbro Pulse dropped a 2-pack of Thanos and Tony Stark. Looks pretty badass.
Shit!
Nice. Yeah, I did see that.
They've got some really badass stuff coming out.
I saw people complaining about it already, too.
Yeah, people complain about everything.
I think the main complaint I was seeing is that Thanos didn't have an extra arm to take off the Stark arm.
Oh, yeah, the
Stark hand.
The Iron Man hand.
So he's stuck with that, like, Iron Man's version of the gauntlet.
He's got 2 hands, or 2 arms, but they both have the Iron Man gauntlet on it, which is whatever.
Oh, I see, yeah. Well, that's dumb as fuck.
One's like the fist, and one's like the snap. It's the same thing Tony has.
Well, still cool.
Is there another figure to trade off of?
I'm not sure. I think there might be. I think they've released a Thanos from that already.
If not, I'm sure someone will be doing some sort of 3D print.
I think there's a Thanos from Infinity War, since this one's from Endgame. I think there's definitely an Infinity War one.
Makes sense.
But that's pretty cool. The Tony Stark in there looked spot on. It was actually a really good-looking figure.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
And then that, just kind of goes in line with everything else, but it's kind of shocking how long it took them to put some of these figures out.
Were not aware of disease until the white man came.
I was unaware that the Wachuti were biters.
I was only saying that because I thought I was going to sneeze.
Oh.
And then after I said it, I don't have to sneeze.
Achoo, achoo. The other big news, and it's not really that big a news, but it was news for the day, is that the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer dropped today. And did either of you guys watch that?
Who gives a fucking shit?
I haven't watched the first movie yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I tried to, and I couldn't finish it. I don't even know how far I got into it. Probably not even halfway. But I was like, no, I'm good.
I'll give it a shot one day.
I've seen it a few times. The first one, I saw it in theaters, and then when it came free streaming, I was like, whatever. I just threw it on the background one day. It's not an amazing movie by any means, but
I just don't want... Venom literally just doesn't make sense as a character without Spider-Man, so...
Yeah, but they're going off the Ultimates where it didn't follow the same. I know, that's the whole debate there.
It's fine, but I'm not saying it's completely doesn't make sense. I'm saying that's why I'm not interested.
People that grew up playing Maximum Carnage, this looks like horse diarrhea, dog shit, vomit, booger, barf, every kind of fluid that's bad outside of a human body.
Bad.
That's kind of what you think, because you're like, well, shouldn't we have all these cool Marvel characters in there helping Spider-Man defeat them, like the Fantastic Four and Mr. Reed Richards, and then Cloak and Dagger helping out? And instead we get Venom and Carnage Ultimates Edition, which is it's different. Some people are probably nostalgic for it, or that's right up their alley because that's what they grew up with. I respect that.
Yeah.
I will say this movie looks better than the first one, just in the overall tone of it. Now that the symbiote and Eddie Brock have a relationship, they kind of play that up a little bit in the trailer that I watched today. And then Cletus Cassidy seems interesting. Woody Harrelson seems.
Do you think the symbiote jerks him off? That kind of relationship?
Yeah, that's kind of what they imply.
Like jerk and suck off?
Yeah, it's pretty like right to the point about like the kind of relationship.
Oh, it really is like that? Sweet. Then I might want to see it if he's actually fucking his suit.
Well, I mean, not that, but it's like how they live their daily life together as a
suit
symbiote.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Does that increase the size of his cock when he's fucking, you think?
Probably gets as big as he needs it to be.
Right?
So if you're at the size queen, you can be big. If you get a, chick that needs, he's probably not going to go any smaller than what he really is.
You know what he could do is grow a second cock and fuck her in the ass at the same time.
Well, fuck, he could do 3. Fuck, Venom can probably vibrate, too.
He'll probably turn his arm into another cock so she can suck while he's doing it, too. Welcome to the Frog Brothers Podcast.
That's Alec. He's gone off the deep end.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go there, you may as well go all the way there.
Alec's gone bye-bye. What have you got left?
The kitty's rubbing up on the proton
So there's also
pack.
that new Ghostbusters Afterlife image released.
Yes, the Mother's Day image. I thought that was pretty tasteful, the way they threw that up there. I liked it.
I like getting small tastes of it that aren't spoiling anything. You're just seeing a little bit of something. It's just a quick glimpse. I'm like, all right, keep teasing me along a little bit. Yes.
Yeah.
They're edging us.
Yeah, exactly.
They're edging us, getting us there to
and that's
November.
great because it's like a Mother's Day thing, and then you see
fucking and sucking and touching, fucking and sucking and touching, fucking and sucking and touching.
It's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
It's a classic Blink song from Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. If you're not familiar, listen to that song.
Yeah, we having fun or what?
No, but the image is nice. You see Finn Wolfhard's character working in the on the car, obviously having some issues there. And then you see the 2 ladies on the roof of the car.
That explains how he fixes the ectomobile.
Well, you got to establish that he's
handy.
Well, he's just trying to be the man of the house since there's clearly not one, so he's doing what he can. You got to respect that.
Think they'll show him laying in the engine compartment like Ray in the first movie?
He's a child. Why would they show off his butt like that, you sick fuck? Stop it, Nick. Stop it.
A little something for everyone.
Where are we going this weekend?
I think you already said that.
Wakita.
Have we said that on this podcast?
Yes, I did.
That was the first thing he talked about.
It was not the first thing we talked about.
It's the first thing he talked
That's
about.
the first thing
And
I
you
talked
were in
about
La
when
La
you were
Land.
messing with the camera.
No, it was before that.
If I was messing with the camera, it didn't happen.
Yes, it did.
Nope.
It's fine, yes, but we'll be in Wakita this weekend.
Yes, we will be traveling to the magical land of Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma sweeping down the plains.
Too bad Afterlife wasn't actually filmed there. We could be visiting those sites too.
We'll be going to Canada to see those sites, so you shut your whore mouth.
We also have new lighting I put up in here. As you can see, there's sort of a green tint behind us. Oh, but it's changed to a little soft pink so we can get some romantic in here.
Yeah.
We can also get pretty red, and we can do anything we want.
We
can also go like dance party, like.
There is a cat. It's presented itself.
But anyway, I think we'll leave it at some green tint.
Leave it right there. What a wiener. All right, so we're going to jump right into a little segment that we like to call...
What are we doing?
Let's do Sick Sad World.
You want to do Six Sad World first?
Oh, yeah. That was so fucked up. I had nightmares last night.
All right. I can't be held accountable for what Justin may say about these mentally ill people.
I mean, are all your friends Satanists?
A young Frenchman photographed this flying saucer, or is it?
Do you believe in UFOs, astral projections, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography?
We're discussing Satanism and the occult this morning and some of the dangers.
Telekinetic movement, full trance mediums, the Loch Ness Monster, and the theory of Atlantis.
For the purposes of this study, we will focus on the number 666.
Tonight on Six Sad World. Alec had an epiphany. He had a moment of brilliance.
Yeah.
Sheer horror, terror.
Well, the theme of tonight's
fear.
episode is cars. And one piece of this segment will be about fucking a car.
Which is not far off from other segments in the other movies that we'll be talking about later, but...
no, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So if anyone remembers, there's a skit on Saturday Night Live in the 90s, and they had the Mercury Mistress on there, where basically instead of a keyhole in the back of the car, the driver could have intercourse with it. Now, this is prior to the rise of fleshlights and realistic-looking male masturbators, and they didn't have any imagery of that on there when they did the SNL skit. It's hard to find now because they're not really too proud of it, and I'm sure Mercury and Ford and Lincoln were all pissed. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? But they called it the Mercury Mistress. They could have called it something else. But as soon as we started talking about this, and Alec mentioned this, that's the first thing that popped into my head because I saw that when it was actually on Saturday Night Live back in the old-fashioned times. So,
well, there's some shit that people on YouTube, in the YouTube community, are probably pretty familiar with. Anybody who watched TLC for a while, you've probably seen clips of this shit that we're about to talk about. At least some of it. The first one was a segment that I would have titled The Eloquent Car Fuckers. And it's about a guy named Nathaniel who fucks his car.
this is why Nick can't have nice things.
This is why I can't have nice things. That was mine.
I know, and he'll replace it if he broke it. So, we come to this program called My Strange Addiction.
Yes. Objectophilia is the main thing for this, for some of these. What is this?
No one's going to be able to see that. They can look it up on their own, Nick. The hell, you're trying to show the glare of a smartphone. Thanks, buddy.
I can go right up to the camera.
You're trying to blind the viewer. Flash the ring light back at him.
And why are you showing pictures of your own butthole anyway? That's weird. No one wants to see that.
I would like to see that, though.
Well, you've already seen that.
You
That's
just DM those to me.
That's the one that had the kazoo in it.
So this is about a guy named Nathaniel. Remember Nathaniel?
Mm-hmm.
And his boyfriend, Chase?
His boyfriend, Chase.
Who is his car?
His car. This man is in love with his car. And I'm going to go out here and say it right now. This might be controversial, and I'm going to sound really mean, but someone had to fucking say it. So I'm going to take the role of mean person today and just go with it. Nathaniel's roommate is so fucking disgusting and hideous that I blame her on the reason this man
fucks a car.
That he fucks a car. She's so disgusting that this man would rather have sex with the car than have sex with a real woman after sharing a room or a home with her. She is fucking disgusting.
Fixed it.
I kill me.
And I'm not just fat shaming here. It's this person has no respect for human life, any life, or anything. I'm sorry. It's disgusting. I went off on a tangent last night. I'm glad I didn't record it. 'Cause that was really.
I wanted to know more about their relationship. Like, was she like in love with him, but he's like in love with his car?
How's your sex life? What's your sex life?
They didn't really get into that.
Yeah. Anyway, so Nathaniel decides to tell his dad that he's in love with his car.
Yeah.
And his dad's just like, you do what? And he basically tells his dad that he humps the car and like masturbates on the car.
Well, he tells him, I got some quotes for you.
Oh, great.
Well, his dad was rubbing his dick on it while he was
committed
talking.
relationship with his car is how he describes it. And it shows him repeatedly like dragging his lips across the car and like making out hardcore with it, sitting under it, like getting his dick under the hood of the car.
Yeah, he has his lower torso under the car while he's kissing the.
And I don't think he's wearing pants during that scene.
No, but my favorite part of that whole thing is like when his dad's sitting there watching him, asking him these questions. He's like, "Are you turned on right now?" Or he's like, "Does this turn you on?" And like as he's rubbing the car, he's like, "Yes."
Yes, he's kissing the car. He says, "We get sexual about the car," and his dad is like, "How do you have sex with the car?" And this is, mind you, 30 seconds after he told him he's in a committed relationship with it. So, like 30 seconds ago, his dad had no fucking care in the world, and then 30 seconds later, he's talking to his son about how do you fuck a car. For real, though, not just like at a hypothetical, hilarious conversation, but how are you fucking your car? And he's like, "You want to know how I'm fucking my car? I'll tell you how I'm fucking my car. I masturbate a lot. That's masturbation is involved." That's what he said.
Yeah.
I'd fill the tailpipe with bologna.
If you ever see Nick buying bologna at the grocery store, run and hide because he just admitted his crimes against humanity.
Yeah.
And deceased animals.
Cars need loving too.
Huh. Interesting.
So then, once we got down this rabbit hole...
Oh, no, he described Chase's favorite song is Can't Fight This Feeling by REO Speedwagon.
They both like the same music.
Yeah.
Because he tells the car what music to play.
Mm-hmm. Not even Shia LaBeouf in Transformers tried to fuck his car, so this kid is wrong.
Yeah, this person... I guess what really pisses me off now, looking back on it like a day later, I'm really just fucking pissed at TLC for exploiting these people that have severe mental illness and trying to fucking make a joke about it.
Isn't that what we're doing?
Yes.
That's exactly what we're doing.
We're making fun of TLC for making fun
yes,
of them.
But like
satire.
TLC had like, they're just like, okay, like this guy fucks cars. Like we could give him some help mentally, but now
And Shia LaBeouf didn't fuck the car because Megan Fox came around and was willing to fuck him.
Oh, that's true.
That's the only reason.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Rumor is they did fuck on set.
Bumblebee and Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
Oh, well, fuck yeah.
No, the guy who played Shia LaBeouf's dad and Megan Fox.
Oh, yeah, who wouldn't? The dude's hung like a horse. Just kidding, I have no idea, but that sounded funny at the moment.
So then there was the 31? He likes to dress up as a baby.
Wait, no. That's not what was...
We're not ready to go to that yet?
Well, I think we can talk about the roller coaster fucking thing.
Yeah,
person. I'll just say person, so I'm not offensive.
Was it a roller coaster, or was it just like one of those carnival?
Well, yeah, but they were describing them as roller coasters, and it's not a roller coaster, clearly, because it's not a coast. There's no coaster.
Yeah.
It was a carnival ride, basically.
Well, she goes to this place and lays down and masturbates a lot.
Yes. The best part, the best clip of that is her rubbing her dirty, oily fingers up into the machine, like fingering the machine, being like, yeah. And then just being like, I love the smells.
Yeah, she smears it on her
face. What I say when I'm
face.
about to climax is, just give me your fluids. I want your fluids. I love your fluids. Which very much...
And you're not making that up.
Sounds like Catherine from Crash, but we'll get there later.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is just...
She's way more technical, though.
Yeah. This is just weird and twisted. And again, like, it's just a mentally ill person that no one has the fucking gumption in their life to say, hey, maybe we should get this person fixed or helped, because this is not normal.
Fixed. I don't think she's going to get pregnant.
That's called a lobotomy.
Fixed, like Old Yeller. That's what
yeah.
it means.
Fixed, like, take the fucking trash out.
Look at the flowers.
Oh, God.
Some people have been through some trauma that's so fucking bad, there's no hope.
RC Cola. Sponsor us, or I'll tie myself to the building.
But can you blame these people for not wanting to have relationships with humans, though?
Yes. I never said... They're not having relationships with anything.
Yeah, they are.
You don't have to have a relationship with a person to get your jollies off.
Yeah.
There's someone out there for everybody.
Including you,
regardless of...
If you use your phone to look at porn while you masturbate, are you in a sexual relationship with your phone?
I mean...
I've never looked at it that way,
depends on
but
the
I guess
definition of...
That depends on if you love your phone.
Me and my phone like the same porn.
Exactly.
Yeah, but do you tell your phone you love it? Do you kiss it goodnight? Do you caress it?
I think you're in a relationship with your hand.
There's more germs on the phone than the toilet.
Well, that's because you...
That's because you
play
jerk
on
off.
That's because people play with it while they're pooping.
Exactly.
So then there's the baby guy.
Yes. What the best part about this is, too, about those last two segments I want to say real quick, is the music. Because it's all like happy and lighthearted while they're explaining their shit, and then as soon as it gets sexual, like they're like...
Well, there's like banjo music for the country ones, and then it's like that dark serial killer music plays.
Exactly, it's dark serial killer music when they're talking about...
Oh, wait, there's the balloon guy,
It's a sexual
too.
relationship.
Which one? I don't remember the order we watched some of
Oh, yeah, the balloon guy. This man that was aroused by balloons since basically being like 4 years old, and he started collecting balloons at the age of 8.
But his whole house is filled with balloons.
Yeah, and
he's married. That's the weirdest one, I think, because that guy's married.
And his nephew is like, "Why are you fucking balloons?"
His redneck cousin or nephew is like some counselor.
Yeah, his nephew is a counselor, but he's the type of like that comes across as a backwoods like molesty counselor, and I don't know if he is or not. I'm just saying he gives off those vibes.
Allegedly.
Yeah. He just gives off those vibes that he drives around in a white van saying, "Hey, I got a puppy in my van. Do you want to come see it?"
Oh, Jesus.
And his uncle wouldn't go to the van because it was balloons he's after, not puppies.
The balloon guy was funny, but the baby guy was great. We need to have him on the podcast.
He was like 350, 400 pounds. So he had like custom-made onesies.
Oh, yeah. He had a custom-made onesie for the show. Like
he takes adult diapers and put baby diapers inside the adult diaper.
Because they're more
for
absorbent.
extra absorbency.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a high chair that he made.
Mm-hmm. He made a crib out of a full-size bed.
No, it was a twin bed.
Twin bed.
He had a hot nanny he paid to come play with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was still looking for another one.
Not
because
sexual.
She wouldn't convert.
No,
yeah.
it's not sexual.
Not sexual.
That was the interesting piece about that is he was not sexual with that, but at his weight, it's probably doubtful that he could even be aroused very well anyway. True. Half chub at best. Half mast.
If you can find it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get a kickstand to prop the blubber out of the way.
Trump-sized penis.
I'm coming across really mean, but this really pissed me off that the human race is so disgusting and trashy.
This one day will be why we get canceled.
I'm sorry.
I didn't laugh afterwards because I'm serious. No.
TLC put it out. We're just giving our commentary on it. So.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah, we should save this segment for the end.
I wanted to get through it because I wanted to get happy again. I didn't want to leave on a dark note and go home after thinking about this shit.
There's the woman that eats mattress.
Yeah.
Specifically foam mattresses, I think.
She's eaten 8 foam mattresses in her life.
Since she was 5 or 8, since she was a kid.
Yeah.
And she was like 30.
And then she went and saw a doctor who basically told her it could kill her. So she's like, I've only eaten mattresses 5 times since then.
Oh,
let's not forget about the morbidly obese
No.
guy.
The funniest part about her, remember, is when it comes up, the black screen with the white text, and it just says, the first time she ate something, she ate the seat of the family car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she ate like a car seat while she was a kid or something.
Like, holy shit.
If you just saw that segment, you'd be like, oh, it's the family dog. The family dog ate the seat of the car.
That's
like,
what I was
somebody
thinking.
spilled a drink in there, and you're like, nope, it's a human being that ate the seat of a car.
You get there, and it's a woman fucking a horse.
That's basically how I felt the entire time. You're just like, wow.
Yeah. Wow.
So the next segment on this that was disturbing is, well, we see a hefty fellow. I don't know, what do you say, weighed 500 pounds at least?
I think he was at least that. I think they said.
Yeah, this is the one that most people have seen. If you've
5 to
seen
600.
the guy bathing with Burger King cups in a trough.
But he's mobile. He's not one of those bedridden people that can't get out
He's
of the bed.
barely mobile.
He can get
He's
up.
surprisingly mobile for sure.
His story pissed
He
me
can
off.
go to the kitchen. That's for sure. He has motivation for that.
He bathes in a trough on the porch.
Yeah.
With dish soap.
This guy was so big.
And then rinses with a Burger King
I was just
cup.
kind of hoping that his dad would get crushed underneath him.
Because
he's enabling him.
His dad gets this big McDonald's order for him, and they forget the dad's food.
They don't forget the dad's food. The kid just decides he wants it all. Is what
he
happens.
gives him some fries and doesn't give him any like the 10 sandwiches.
Yeah, he has like 5 or 6.
They forgot your order.
They forgot your order,
Here's
Dad.
some fries.
I guess you don't get. Here's some fries.
Yeah, so he got so big and lazy.
Pretty rude.
His dad only has like a beer belly. You know, they talk like they both like just pig out all the time.
Yeah, but his mom decided to not put up with his shenanigans and kicks him out of the house. So he goes and lives with his dad.
Yeah.
So clearly, like, they weren't on best terms anyway, which is probably part of some of the trauma that he needs to have addressed. But his dad just feeds him whatever he wants and goes out and brings him food all the time. So
yeah,
it's dark. It's a sick, sad world out there.
That's the name of the segment.
Well, I guess let's move on to something a little more
happy.
I wouldn't actually. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if any of this is happy today, but
Christine is pretty like not. It's horror, but it's not like
Christine's
fucking
the
Crash.
happiest thing we've watched.
We'll save that for the last then.
Christine?
I suppose that it's time to expose ourselves.
And you don't want us.
What do you mean you haven't seen this film supreme made up of a dream team? This movie's pretty great. You're fucking late. Let's accelerate and get it on your plate.
And you don't want us exposing ourselves. And you don't want us exposing ourselves. Exposing ourselves.
Oh yeah, that hits right.
And you don't want us. Nick, stop touching things that are not
I
yours.
had it where it should be. Made everybody green.
So the year is 1996.
1996.
The rating is
The film
NC-17.
is Crash.
The boobies are
real.
Yeah.
The
The
key
Spader
players
is James.
The James Spader plays James Ballard.
What a stretch.
Yep. Catherine, is it Ballard? Yeah. Is played by Deborah. I can't read her last name because my handwriting sucks.
Oh my god. Deborah Kara Winger.
Okay, that's it.
Or Unger, not Winger.
Unger, yeah, that's it. Okay. And then
Elias Cotis. Rosanna Arquette. Holly Hunter.
Yeah, Holly Hunter plays Dr. Helen Remington. So this is one of those movies that Alec was like, "Oh yeah, you guys got to see this. This is like just a
This is a high quality
cinematic masturbatorial piece,
This is some high quality handmade shit.
hand job shit."
Basically, there is a hand job, a soapy hand job, if you don't know anything about internet culture. Like I do.
So this movie's interesting. It's a Cronenberg movie, so if that explains anything to you up front, which hopefully it will if you're listening to us.
Yeah, we did cover Videodrome a few episodes back. Go check that out if you're a big Cronenberg fan, because we are, well, I am at least, so.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, it's Cronenberg, so unlike David Lynch, where you kind of have Lynch vibes that carry over movie to movie, Cronenberg just jumps from one fucking crazy thing to the next. Like, his themes aren't always just so transparent and connect the dots.
Yeah, things do connect a little bit. Like, I would say Videodrome is probably the film that I've seen of his that connects closest to this, or maybe Cosmopolis. But I haven't seen all of his movies either, so.
Yeah. So, this movie is basically, if you ever watched HBO, Showtime, or Cinemax after 10 p.m. on the weekends in the 90s.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Circa 1997.
Oh,
yeah, that's basically what this movie is. It's softcore porn with a story.
Fuck yeah, it is.
And I gotta give it credit, because the story's a little bit more interesting than most softcore
I think there's
porn.
more fucking in this than a Cinemax porn.
Probably.
More, but it's all shorter scenes, too.
Shorter scenes, yeah. They're not just trying to help you across the finish
Some
line.
of-
You know
sometimes
what I mean?
they're back
trying
to back.
They're trying to tell the story.
Mm.
So,
basically opens up and shows you that the James Spader and his wife are in an open relationship. She's fucking a guy at an airplane hangar. The music is all slow, and it reminds me of something you'd hear in a David Lynch film, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see like her going at it with the other guy, and like they're having a gray old time.
This film is like a bridge between Cronenberg and Lynch, because it's very Lynchian, this movie, to me.
Yeah.
And then Spader's fucking some girl from his production.
The camera girl
movie.
from his film.
Yeah, camera girl, that's right.
He's a film producer, I believe.
Yeah.
Then they talk about it on the balcony. They say, there's a big thing here. She's talking about... no, he asked her if she came when she was fucking the guy. And what does she say, like, no?
Yeah, I don't remember what she said.
And then she says,
We don't care if she came or not.
What about your camera girl? Did she come?
Oh, yeah.
And then he says, we were interrupted.
Oh, yeah. Because you see the scene of them being interrupted by somebody wanting them back on set or something.
And, yep, that is Darwin, everyone.
Say hi, kitty. Say hi
He's
to
a
the
little bit
audience,
on camera. Cute motherfucking cat of mine.
But you can't get on the table.
Nope. No, because there is liquid and electronics. Because we like to live dangerously.
I also like to live dangerously.
No, I was saying something about this shit.
So then after
yeah.
Well, after they have their
whoopee
and everything, they reminisce and they enjoy each other's company, correct?
Yes, but she has a line that she says that's relevant in this conversation. That's what I was trying to get to, where she asks him about that if that girl came, right? And he says, we were interrupted. And then she says, maybe the next one.
Oh, yes, which kind of circles back.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. But that's a line that sticks out in there. Then that's when you see him driving frantically. He's like reading some papers and shit.
Paperwork.
Yeah, he's just like doing fucking God knows what. And then, he gets in a car accident, which is a pretty dope filmed car accident. Like the way
it's
hits
really
right.
fucking grotesque. It's one of those things like they could easily have used the same footage for an anti-drunk driving commercial.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Because the husband was not wearing a seatbelt.
No, he flew into the fucking...
Yeah,
flew across the car.
Spader's
It's disturbing, but it's
seat.
really well done because you see James driving this car, right? And then head-on collision, and then in the passenger seat next to him, the body of the car he collided with, the passenger in that car, comes flying through like abracadabra right through the glass and like lands by him.
And the woman's seatbelt has exposed her bosom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you see her breast, and in James Spader's mind, like he's
Holly
looking
Hunter's
at it
bosom.
like he believes that she had done that on purpose, but it's kind of one of those
Maybe.
things where you don't really know if it was on purpose or not, right? Just because you get that vibe that Spader's just overly sexual from the get-go.
Then he's in the hospital, you know. He's talking to his wife, and she tells him that the woman he collided with is a doctor at that hospital, but she's also there at the hospital.
As a patient.
As a patient now, yes. And she says something about maybe he'll run into her in the halls, and he literally does. And she kind of brushes him off and just doesn't talk to him or anything, you know, just like, ugh. It's weird.
And then as they're kind of moving through the hallway, we're introduced to Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
And Vaughn has a bunch of photos of crash wrecks, and like he gets down on his knees and like...
we have to address this, that Vaughn is played by Elias Koteas.
Yeah, who plays Casey Jones in Ninja Turtles 1 and 3.
Yeah.
They left his character out in The Secret of the Ooze. I guess his ooze wasn't potent enough for that.
I was going to make a semen joke there, so thanks for that. I didn't need to think of one.
And he's got a pretty gnarly scar on his face.
Yeah, he's scarred all over his whole body. It looks like silly putty.
Yeah, it's not the best.
But it has a $9 million budget for this movie, which if you think about all the car crash scenes they had to film for it, that's
most
crazy.
Of the budget, yeah. He looks so much older than he does in the Ninja Turtles movie.
Yes, I know. He's like balding and shit, and it's weird as hell.
Does he wear a wig in Ninja Turtles?
I don't know.
I have no idea. Yeah.
But
I don't think I've ever seen
we were talking
him.
about cutting scenes with him and with Ninja Turtles from the weird shit he says in this movie.
Yes, and the weird shit he says in Ninja Turtles.
Exactly.
It's interchangeable.
Roto-Rooter.
There's a bunch of sound clips I'm going to be eventually getting from this movie, probably this week. Didn't get up in time for this one, but...
Did you see his penis?
Have you seen his penis? Do you want to sodomize him?
Have you tasted semen?
Do you want to put your penis in his anus?
In his anal cavity.
Yeah, that's Catherine. That's James's wife in this movie.
Like, the dirty talk would work if she just didn't use the words penis and instead use something.
I mean,
something
it's an NC-17 movie. At least the version we saw of it was, right? So we saw the Criterion DVD.
Yeah, there is an R-rated version as well.
And like, just talk filthy. Like, it's not even rated. Or no one's under 17's allowed. Just be as
other
filthy
people
as you
do,
want.
but she's very technical.
But it's
the other girl
her,
says cum and shit, but she says.
But they make
orgasm?
her character like.
No, she doesn't say cum. She says semen and stuff.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. It's
she's just kind of a crazy character, and not crazy in like the way over the top. She's just very bizarre. She's very mild mannered the entire time, like even when she's hooking up with people and doing everything else. So,
yeah, she kind of seems vacant and not really all there the whole time, even when she's getting fucked or after a car crash, whenever.
She gets fucked in a car crash.
Yeah, after when any combination of those things, she always looks a little vague. And
So essentially, after Vaughn gets out of this hospital stay, you realize that, they find out more nefarious things are going on, and that includes...
You mean James?
Oh, yeah, James. Yeah,
James gets out there, and he goes to his car.
Yep, and he finds...
Dr. Helen Remington, is that it?
Yeah, Helen.
Remington?
Yeah, he runs into Helen,
and then
looking for the car that she was involved in with the crash, and then she runs into James there, and he decides to give her a ride.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And she decides to give him a ride.
After they almost get in a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the interesting part there, though, is I love how she's challenging him. She's like, you went out and bought the same model car in the same color with the same trim.
Yeah.
Because he went out and bought the identical car that he totaled.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people do that from time to time, especially if they haven't had the car that long, right? You get something you really
like
want.
the car, yeah.
But, that just seemed just kind of shows you what type of a character James is more than anything else, right? I think that's just...
Yeah. Anyway, they go to after they fuck, they go to a meeting where Vaughn is recreating
the James Dean car crash.
Exactly, with a couple of their stunt drivers.
They're into celebrity car crashes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Recreating them. They're into car crashes in general. They're like kind of a car crash cult thing. It's very fascinating and it works. As fucked up as it is, you're like, wow, this is interesting. It makes for good film. I'll tell you that.
It does, because it's a unique concept. I mean, the sex scenes, you could almost get away with this movie and have it be a better movie with fewer sex scenes, just because that really doesn't drive it.
Well, it almost felt like The Room. There were so many sex scenes.
Yeah, a lot of them felt forced, right? You could have just implied they're having sex, and no one really would have cared.
James is my best friend.
Yeah.
Vaughn is my best friend. And he's my bottom. Because at one point, James fucks Vaughn after they get tattoos. And then they're licking and kissing all over each other's tattoos.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I can feel the stinging and annoying and like just gross sliming and imagining the scabs and infections coming from
Nick
that.
has no idea, but yeah.
It's
if
not
you've ever
right.
been tattooed, you can imagine what that sensation's like, and you want to keep that clean and taken care of, and these people are licking on their fresh wounds, which is basically a very large open wound on you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And like I said, James tops Vaughn in the car. No oral. They didn't blow each other. Wonder why. They were already kissing all over each other's bodies. May as well blow each other. Unless Cronenberg just didn't want to get too graphic with it, but may as well have. Fuck it.
Yeah, I think that was just one of those things that...
Have you seen his penis?
Being in that, yeah. Just kind of plays back to that whole scene. Really interesting, strange movie. You're just
probably
like,
pretty scarred up.
Well, and that's what she asked. Yeah, she's like, is it scarred? I bet it's scarred up. Like, because obviously you see James and Catherine going back and forth discussing things, having their what I guess is their normal sex life, right? And just kind of doing their own thing. Just fucking bizarre. Just so weird.
There is definitely, if you've seen that thing going around on the internet about bisexual lighting, that is definitely in this film a lot on James.
Yes.
Which is like the blue and or purple, red and pink, kind of like what either mixed or whatever, two colors at once, kind of like excessively. So it looks really cool, actually.
And in this case, it's basically
it's like
James is standing behind a car crash, so they've got the ambulance and probably the police cars on site.
Exactly.
You definitely see the voyeurism of them going by and driving and looking at car crashes, which to me is the way more interesting part of the story, is that they're fascinated by it. They're driving by, taking pictures, looking, just taking pictures of people on the side of wrecks and stuff. Like, is the psychology behind that's really crazy, and then the fact that they're aroused and just have to get off after this stuff. You're just like, okay.
We've got bush.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some thick landing strips that you get to see throughout the film.
Isn't it
one
pretty
girl,
much Catherine's most of the time?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure it's just hers, but we might see a little bit of the other...
Arquette?
The prostitute as well, in the back of the car.
Yeah.
And then you see, I was about to say, maybe Arquette a little bit too, because I don't remember or not, but she's like Vaughn's main girl, I think, that they mainly hook up. But She's part of the little
leg
cult
braces
thing.
and-
Yeah, she's got like a bunch of weird,
She's got a really
nasty
big,
looking,
thick
vaginal looking on purpose scar on the
leg,
back of her
yeah.
leg.
Yeah.
That James licks up all on. He rips her stockings, which literally just makes me think of Lost in Translation. Lip them. You know that whole scene?
Yeah.
Lip them.
Well, that was awkward. I'm glad we got that on video.
Vaughn ends up
Nick's just filleting
twisting
the
my
microphone.
spine.
Vaughn ends up dying.
He does. They get into a high-speed pursuit, playing the games they usually play.
Kind of like a cat and mouse little thing they do on the highways.
Vaughn died?
Mm-hmm.
It was quick.
Yeah, they don't even make a fanfare out of it. Like, he dies, and next
Well,
thing you know, they're moving on.
It was
Yeah.
after he found those other guys had recreated that one accident.
They created the Jane Mansfield
And they died.
wreck with the Chihuahua
With
that
the
he was talking about
Chihuahua.
earlier.
It's just crazy because, like, earlier on in the movie, you don't understand why, but the man, I forget the character's name, but the man is wearing a bra in preparation, like trying to become the Jane Mansfield as she's, you know, in the scene. So, like, later on, you see that the dog dies in the car. He was wearing a bra like Jane would have had, and he had the blonde wig on. So, like,
and then the wig's like embedded in the door.
Yeah, the wig's embedded into the car, with like with blood and scalp and stuff. So interesting,
Fascinating for sure.
And Vaughn's pretty upset about it because that was supposed to be something to do together, and he's pissed that his friend got impulsive and went out and did it, and then he's just kind of, I don't know if he just gives up hope, or, you know, you don't really get into a lot of his character motivations, just besides the fact that he likes these things, and then he just feels left out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about really all you get out of it.
It's very weird. But yeah, then he dies. Then James goes and basically claims his car.
Yes.
And then starts to play that same game with his wife. Just him and his wife. He's the one
I must
driving
have zoned out
Vaughn's
right
car.
there because I remember him, the scene where he's...
I actually zoned out there last night. But
where he runs his
I
wife
watched
off
it
the road. Yeah.
when I bought it. So
Well, so you've got one other scene there that you don't want to forget. So after Vaughn dies, I do believe you see Helen and who's the Arquette? What's her character's name?
Gabriel.
Oh yeah, they're banging.
Yeah, and Gabriel. They go hook up in the car in the junkyard, which James goes and retrieves later. So it's kind of one of those things, you know, they're mourning the loss of Vaughn by hooking up in the car there, and I think it makes it imply that they sleep in the car there that night. Wild
Winners
stuff.
go home and fuck the prom queen.
And then the ending's like
abrupt
and anticlimactic. Just in the way that we've already seen a bunch of car crashes in this movie, right? So we see that James is tailgating Catherine while she's driving the car and like starts to hit her.
Rams her, yeah.
Then he rams her off the road and she goes down the hill, and
he looks surprised.
He seems surprised. He's like,
I like how he hits the garbage truck when he's trying to like swing around
knocks
too.
the fucking bumper
the
off.
bumper off of it. And then he backs up in the middle of the road and just goes and
stares at her for a minute.
Stares at her for a minute before he even goes down there. And I think she's playing dumb or playing dead on purpose for him or something.
That's what I'm saying. She's vague the whole time.
Yeah, and
She
don't
might
know.
have been a little dazed though. I mean,
Well,
the
I'm sure
car
she probably
flipped
was.
and she was thrown out of it. So.
Yeah.
And it was a convertible, so she probably was a little.
Yeah, so you basically
tossed.
see her on like a hillside median of a road that she drove down, and then her and James decide to
Well, he's like, "Are you okay?" And then he starts kissing on her, and then
have sex on the side of the
pulls her
road, and then
panties
that's
to the
where
side
obviously
and-
we close the full circle.
He
and
says,
say,
"Yeah." She says, "I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay." And he says, "Maybe the next one. I think maybe the next one, darling."
Yep.
And then he says it again. Maybe the next one. Implying that maybe the next one will kill her because now that's their fetish is to
die,
come close to death. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah,
or at least be more injured.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. It's a good watch. Like, I recommend
It's a
watching
good-
it just to expose yourself to different shit.
Like the first time you have a new girlfriend over and you want to watch a movie, this is it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, if you're trying to gauge,
You
like,
laugh,
if she
but
can
I'm
handle-
dead serious.
Yeah,
because
this is how you
can
weed out the weak.
Exactly. If she was like, "Holy shit, that's awesome! Now let's put it back on and fuck while it's on," then you know you got to keep
You want
her.
to make sure she's not vanilla.
Yes.
I mean,
Or
it's like, oh, I haven't seen. Isn't this the movie with Sandra Bullock? And then you turn it on. It's not that Crash.
Nope.
Not the one with Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, it's an experience. I wouldn't recommend watching it with a group of people like we did. There's an awful lot of
the three of us and
she wanted to come.
And a female.
And I already watched it, so I knew it was happening.
Yeah.
I told her very much about it.
Well, she's always welcome, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't able to circle jerk, but
maybe next one. Maybe the next one.
Maybe the next weird softcore porn we want.
Oh my god!
I need to get that as a clip too. Maybe the next one
from each of them.
Shall we cover this week's Twin Peaks?
Nah, I think we should pitch a summer tent pole.
Pitch a tent.
Pitching a summer tent pole,
which I was gonna do theme music for, but I didn't get back early enough
Would it
for
be
work
involved
tonight.
pitching
so
a tent?
Probably will next week.
We're pitching a tent in the
Whatever, do it next.
summertime. Make it strong and hard to survive the storm.
You've got my theme song to make for next week.
You don't get a theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Your theme song is me shitting.
Actually, I might do fart samples.
Yeah. Auto-tune the toots.
Nick, we're gonna let you go first.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna put you up. You're first. So pitching a summer tent pole. This time we decided that you had to choose a legacy sequel. So a movie that needed a legacy sequel. So it could have already had a sequel that or a reboot or whatever else, but you got to do a sequel to the original.
We're pitching, yes, a movie.
Mine's a three-way. It is a
Menage a trois.
It is a Passion of the Christ, Encino Man, Back to the Future legacy sequel.
Something's got to be done about your Jesus, Marty.
Something's got to be done about your cross nails.
Now all the kids in this movie will be played by Stranger Things cast members, of course, because that's Hollywood.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Are you gonna get what is?
It sounds like you're a little upset that Finn Wolfhard's in Ghostbusters out.
No. Whoa.
All right. Do you actually have something, or are you?
Yes.
Okay.
So Sean Astin and Pauly Shore's kids find Jesus' son frozen.
So wait, just to clarify,
This is an Encino Man
Sean
sequel.
Astin and Pauly Shore are married in this scenario.
Yes.
Okay, it's their kids. Okay, I just wanted to clarify. That's all.
I don't know. I didn't really think. I did think of that, but
Are you saying it's
I didn't
their
clarify?
Okay, so you were just meaning it's like Bill and Ted's
It
version
could go
with
either
their
way.
kids.
It could go either way.
Okay. So they're not gay lovers in this.
They could be.
Okay.
But
He didn't think that.
Well, we won't leave it off the table.
But Jesus' son is played by Curtis Armstrong, otherwise known as Booger. But after discovering the horrors that his father has wreaked on humanity, he seeks out the rumored time-traveling DeLorean, because they're all in California. And it's in Marty's kids' garage, right? So it's got to be Marty's kids, because it's a legacy. And he takes that back in time to December 25th, 4 BC, to kill his father as a baby. But Doc's kids in the time-traveling train go back in time to stop him. Because it's like the Hitler thing. You want to go back in time and kill Hitler, but that could make things worse. So, And that's what I threw together before we recorded.
Okay, that was very quick. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Fuck it.
Mine actually sounds like a real producible film now. Thank you. I was like, holy fuck.
Mine
I want to see
sounds
this
like
movie.
It could be real too.
All right, who's next?
We'll do you. We'll let you go next.
All right. The Great Outdoors needs a sequel. And you're going to say, well, how, Justin? How would you make a Great Outdoors sequel without John Candy? Well, John Candy is obviously the central role of this movie that's missing. So John Candy's character in this movie has just died. And they go back up to the cabin to scatter the ashes and execute his will and last wishes.
Yeah, but there's got to be some asshole who antagonizes them the whole time. Who's that going to be played by? You've got to have an antagonist. Who is it?
It's the son of the bear with no ass hair.
The bear has to come back, obviously.
Well, so I was going to keep the original
Oh,
cast.
and the raccoons.
So Chris Young is still going to play Buck Ripley. Stephanie Fari is still going to be Connie. Dan Aykroyd will be Roman Craig. Annette Bening will be Kate Craig. The Gordon sisters will still be Kara and Mara Craig. Now, their characters I didn't want to get distracted from, so they just kind of be the ones that are just mentioned, but they don't have a lot of screen time, right? You know, they'll be there for the quick memorial service.
Just like they were in the movie.
Yeah.
The first one.
And, obviously, one of the things that's going on up there in that town now, there's photos of the bear and all kinds of places, because that town becomes known for the bear after it survives another shot. And then you see photos of Chester there in town as well. You know, there's like an article up there in the old place where the old cabins were. So, I was going to say Noah Schnapp, Schnapp from Stranger Things would be Buck's kid. Yeah, because he had the least role. He played Will.
This is hilarious that he said that to make fun of them, and then that you did it genuinely. Yeah. Now it's very hilarious that Nick said that, and I wish he had almost gone second.
I know.
But actually, it's better because this way we know he's not just making fun of you directly.
Yeah. No, so Noah would play Buck's kid, and then Skylar Gartner would play one of the twins' kids, and he'd be up there with Dan Aykroyd. And he's the kid that's in, have you ever seen...
There's no Stranger Things kids in my cast. I just want to throw that out there.
Ozarks. It's the kid in Ozarks that's the little brother that's the killer.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of one.
Spoiler alert. So he would play Roman's kid, and he'd be the asshole, like, just trying to fuck things up, because he's there being the antagonist, not believing any of this, and didn't really like his uncle and all that shit. So it'd just be kind of one of those cheesy sequels. They're like, why are you doing this? There's not really any reason why, besides that we wanted to make a movie about memorializing,
Take 3.
I mean...
Did you come up with the writer, director, any of that stuff?
Yeah, well, I was going to use the same director would be Howard Deutsch.
Oh, I'm the writer and director of mine.
Again, because he directed the original, and he's still working, active. So...
Writing it too?
I don't know who wrote it, but it'd be hard to say. Because...
No one wrote it.
Well, no, I meant the original Dick knows.
Oh. John Hughes, didn't he? Am I just making that up?
No, Hughes wrote it, but I don't know who you'd write now that can write Hughes' style, right, without it being complete trash.
Well, the last people to collaborate with him on paper were Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg.
Okay. Well, then possibly those two could handle the script. But you need your Canadian in there, yeah. So
that was Great Outdoors. Has such a low rating.
I don't know, but I just thought that would need a sequel. And then you could have what's his name being a fucking unhappy marriage, so he goes back into this town and like he's trying to go bang the chick that still lives there the whole time. Yeah. And then of course you got the raccoons that are still telling stories about. Yeah, you got to have the raccoons in there. And then there's some bear that's the offspring of the bald-butted bear that's talking to the raccoons in this one.
Just the shotgun lamp make an appearance?
Well, yeah, it'd be in the fucking or in the cabin still.
Baby bear gets its ass blown off.
All right, well, I guess we're going to move on to mine, which is quite a legendary one indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, the sequel to the 1986 sitcom Alf and Project Alf. The movie. Alf, the movie. Yeah.
Written by?
Written by Paul Fusco, who is Alf, and Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg.
Directed by?
David Gordon Green, who directed Pineapple Express and also did a bunch of episodes of Righteous Gemstones, Eastbound and Down, all those things. He's involved in all those with Danny McBride. He also is directing the new Halloween movies. He directed the last one.
So you're talking like a real filthy version of Alf, the version that we've always wanted, but we've
It's
never
not horribly filthy, but filthier a little bit. Like, he'll definitely smoke weed with Seth Rogen as in a cameo.
That's good.
I have a bunch of cameos listed, too, in the cast. So you'll have Paul Fusco, obviously, as Alf. Anne Sheedon will come back as Kate. Andrea Elson as Lynn.
Is Alf going to be CGI in this?
No, it's the puppet. You're not going to CGI Alf.
Yeah, you CGI.
Oh, they would.
And as Eric Tanner, the youngest son who goes on the adventure with Alf, Michael Cera. With cameos from Kevin Smith, Tommy Wiseau. Some of them I even randomly wrote down what their cameo would be as. Tommy Wiseau would be an ambulance driver. Have no idea where that would fit in, but it would happen. Seth Rogen would be a doctor that he would smoke weed with, apparently. Bill Murray as a man in the hospital. Pauly Shore as a priest. Paul Rudd as Alf's psychiatrist.
Is there going to be a cancer kid in the hospital, too?
That is Bill Murray, basically.
The cancer kid.
He'll be suicidal and terminal or something, and Alf will have to stop him from killing himself.
He'll be the little girl.
Kate McKinnon as a scientist. Kristen Bell as a military officer. Neil deGrasse Tyson as himself, because the plot revolves around Alf revealing himself to the world.
Should have Alf living with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No, he's living with Michael Cera. Music by Mark Mothersbaugh, who is from Devo and did all the Wes Anderson movies and Thor Ragnarok. Basically, Alf lives with Eric Tanner, the youngest of the Tanner family, who's a baby in the 4th season. And he decides to reveal himself to the world and then goes on a road trip tour adventure because he's finally exposed and free to do things before, some antagonistic event. Somebody trying to study him, probably the military, trying to fuck some shit up again. Who knows? But that would be it.
Sounds ridiculous. I like how absurd all this shit is.
Will your cats be in the movie?
I mean, I don't know.
How the hell would he have his cats in there if this is made by Hollywood? Dick knows. I'm just kidding.
I thought he got creative credit.
This is, what do we call this? Fantasy. It's not real, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy.
Smoke weed every day.
That's what I always say.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got here? We got some
Twin Peaks.
We now return to the real Ghostbusters.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
Pretty good. Bill Murray's the funniest man on the planet.
Episode by episode.
Ooh. Season 2, Episode 2, Coma.
Episode 9 overall.
This is a fun episode. There's some good stuff in this one.
Yes.
It'd be the 10th, including the pilot, right?
No.
The pilot's just considered the pilot.
But there's 8 episodes in the first season, and this is the second of this.
There's 7 episodes in the first season with the pilot.
There's 8 with the pilot.
This one's episode 9 overall. I don't know what to tell you, and I don't appreciate you interrupting my podcast with the wrong facts.
Fact check the fact checker.
I can prove it.
All right, Donald, shut up.
Coop and Albert.
See? 8.
That doesn't include the pilot.
Including the pilot, there's 8.
Yes. I wasn't including the pilot.
Oh. So this is the 9th
because it's not included in the numbering.
Plus the pilot. Okay.
Haven't we talked about this before?
Yes.
I thought you said including the pilot. Okay.
No.
We've had this
There's
conversation.
an Alf connection. Did you see it?
You're not even the pot smoker here, and you can't remember shit.
There's an Alf connection in previous episodes because the guy who plays Albert, Miguel Ferrer, is
Remember,
in Project Alf.
Remember those pajamas I pointed out that Willie wears? And you can find them in Target's women's section? It's the same one Cooper's wearing in this episode.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to wear those, you can go to Target right now in the women's section.
I go there often.
They look exactly the same.
Cooper and Albert are talking about Buddhist and Tibetan theories and interesting shit, and Cooper's basically explaining that shit to Albert.
So Albert doesn't really seem to give a fuck.
He's kind of like, he judges.
He's very Western science, not into religion or any of that kind of stuff. So he's kind of, you're grounded in what I would say reality.
Mm-hmm. Ronette wakes up when she sees when they do the Bob flyer thing. She starts having
then they show the sketch of Bob. They show the first sketch and then no reaction. And then the Bob, she starts screaming and freaking out,
convulsing and shit.
Which is awesome because Bob has a good amount of screen time in this episode for what's going on.
Mm-hmm. The smoked cheese pig is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like a cheese made out of pig.
Yeah.
Or not. It looks like a pig shape, but it's cheese.
Yes.
It's another thing among Twin Peaks fans. It's just very weird. It sticks out. It's like, what the fuck is this? Why is it?
And then they have the two journals from the sawmill, one saying that it's doing financially well, and the other one's showing that they're obviously cheating the system.
Which one do we burn?
And I like how they're debating the philosophy of they both have valid points. You know, they're both useful depending on what kind of story you want to tell. So, kind of interesting.
I liked Donna taking the food to Mrs. Tremond.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene's iconic as hell.
Yep. Happy Gilmore's grandma sitting there. And then...
I asked for no cream corn.
Is there cream corn on that plate? Yes. I asked for no cream corn. Is there cream corn on that plate?
Cream corn
is
delicious.
And then it's that little kid sitting there with a handful of cream corn.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's just where this show starts to get just doing
Cream
what
corn
it wants.
is very important to Twin Peaks, believe it or not. So moving forward, just remember that.
Yeah, this is the weirdest episode so far, I think, overall.
That's great, though. This is where it starts to get fun.
Oh, yes. Well, season 2 overall is like ups and downs for sure, but there's some subplots that are going to be introduced that you're going to have one hell of a time watching. I'll just warn you now. And I mean that in a bad way. You're going to be like, what the fuck is this? Let's not do this. Yeah, I like how they toast marshmallows instead of ending up burning either ledger.
Mm-hmm.
Andy's putting up that poster of the Bob at the diner, and he can't fucking get on there. He has tape all over him. He looks like a fucking idiot.
Yes, it's stuck to his head.
Yeah.
And let's not forget his whole speech with Lucy, where he explains to her and wants to know how she's pregnant.
Yeah.
When he's infertile, he's like, I tried to donate to the sperm bank before, and they said he's not fertile or whatever.
Sterile is what he said.
I think they just said that because they didn't want his sperm. That's my theory.
It's possible.
Because he's dumb.
Could be, but that's kind of what they say, is that it's not possible.
When they told me I was sterile, I thought it just meant I didn't have to bathe.
Log Lady and Major Briggs at the Double R Diner.
Major Briggs is probably one of my favorite characters in this show, just overall.
She says, my log has something to tell you. Tells him to deliver the message. And she says, do you know what that means? And he says, something like, yes, ma'am, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Actually.
Which you just want to keep on that story arc at the moment and just jump ahead to that piece?
No.
Okay.
I got a bunch of other notes between now and then we should just talk about. Because Hank goes to the sheriff's, checks in, explains to Cooper that he and Hank used to be childhood friends and that he used to be a member of the Bookhouse Boys. And that he was a good member of the Bookhouse Boys. Very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Horn reports Audrey Horn missing.
Yes, and then Audrey Horn has her adventure.
Leland recognizes the picture of Bob and loses his shit.
Yeah, because he says it's something back to the campsite he went to as a child.
It's not a campsite. It's his. He says it's my grandfather's summer home. This guy used to live next door. He's a neighbor.
Okay, yeah, that's right. But I knew it was something from his childhood.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just setting that up for later. So it's just
he says something about like that, and then Leo has brain damage. He's sitting in there. Dr. Hayward explains that to Shelley, and then Bobby and Shelley are talking about how they can basically abuse the
Social Security disability to get money to live off of. That's $5,000 a month.
And here's where we pick up the Briggs comes to see Cooper.
Yes.
With some of the most interesting shit of the episode. One of my favorite things in Twin Peaks in general is this
we learn that Briggs, he comes in there and he kind of gives a preface and saying, hey, I'm going to tell you some information, but I can't tell you everything. And, Cooper's like, I'm a man of the government. I'm a man of my word as well. I respect that, right? So they have this mutual understanding and agreement before the conversation really gets too in-depth.
Yeah.
And then Major Briggs tells Dale about what he does. So he basically...
Which I have written down if you don't. It's basically
go
he
ahead.
says that he is part of a team that investigates, part of what they do is investigates deep space monitors and...
Radio signals.
Yes, radio signals from distant galaxies.
Dead pulsars.
Yeah.
Then he explains... I think you can get this.
Yeah, he basically explains to him that, most of what they get is just junk. They don't ever really get anything useful. And then he says that the owls are not what they seem.
He says they got a message, like last night, that says...
Right around the time he got shot.
In perfect English, the owls are not what they seem. And he says, how'd you know the message is from me or whatever? And he says, because we also got a message that just says Cooper.
Like 3 times or
yeah,
something.
Repeating. And that's pretty interesting. And then the owls thing starts to make a little bit more sense. Cooper.
Yeah, no, he's a fascinating character, and he always is.
For someone that has his level of knowledge, he's very calm and collected the entire time. Like, this shit doesn't faze him.
Just you and I together forever in love. So yeah, James sings Just You and I with Maddie and Donna, and it is one of the most hilarious, cringy moments in all of Twin Peaks.
It's bad.
It's hilarious. It's like the music isn't bad, but the singing and the lyrics are god-awful, trifling shit.
The singing and lyrics are trash, and then the fact that he's playing guitar, but yet there's bass and drums accompanying him.
Right.
And then when he gets
and there's
up... and
vocal delay.
And there's this huge reverb and vocal delay in a room that has none of that. It's like an average little room, and it's giant.
Yeah.
And then when he gets up and drops the guitar... and it's just in a fucking acoustic guitar that they did for the sound dropping. Like, it clearly doesn't even match. You're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that part bothers me, but that scene leads to one of the coolest things ever, because during that, while he's playing it, he's like obviously staring at Donna for a minute, right?
Yep.
And then he starts staring at Maddie back and forth. And they're like, ooh, they're having sexual energy there, because he's looking at her like she's just Laura. That's what she is to him. He doesn't know, he doesn't give a fuck about Maddie. He's just seeing Laura in her and is like, I kind of want to fuck her again because of that. Then Donna gets pissed off and leaves. He goes and kisses her and makes out with her, and they're like, oh, but Maddie's sitting there.
Yes, and then Bob fucking like starts climbing over the couch and like fucking just runs at her and scares the fuck out of her.
I love that.
It's so good when he jumps over that couch.
Yeah, it's great. And he gets real close, and she screams. Coop wakes up to phone call from Audrey, and she's basically asking him why he hasn't rescued her yet. And then Blackie finds her on the phone, cuts the phone line, and is like, yeah, you're in fucking trouble now, bitch.
The other thing we forgot, though, was when she's got what's-his-name tied up, and she's strangling him, and then she threatens him.
Oh, yeah.
She gets him to spill the beans.
But my only thoughts during the scene were basically, you can't try to get information out of somebody who's into bondage by choking them. They're going to get off more.
Yeah.
Especially, you could see the shit he was into. Yeah, he was getting off more.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason he gave her information, so she'd just keep doing it, I guess. I don't know. It's one of those things. But
one, and the other piece to that doesn't make sense is, like, they find out that she's giving that information up.
You're crinkling all the way into my microphone.
And you're just like, why didn't she just leave him tied up?
Yeah.
When she calls Coop, right? Because clearly he's gotten loose. Cooper, sorry. I say Coop because of basketball when they call him Coop all the time. I always say whenever...
Swish.
Yeah.
Reamer.
No, that's a good episode, though.
Yeah, the show is developing. For
Did
sure.
you talk about the ending?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where Audrey calls Coop.
No, when they're all scared of the monster on the couch or whatever.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Was that not the very end?
No.
Oh, I was thinking that was the very end. Never mind.
The other piece about that, though, that makes sense with the owls is because when you see Bob kind of getting out of there, you see Bob's
is that what
face
you're talking
turn
about?
into an
Like
owl.
the little montage thing? With a bunch of flashing images?
Mm.
Yeah, that's a little bit later after the...
That's like the very end, I think.
Yeah. But that is the important piece, though, because you start to understand the owl a little bit because you say...
Yeah, it projects the owl onto Bob's face and kind of shows that. And he's processing that information, Coop is, during that dream because he sees the giant again. It's fascinating.
Fascinating.
They want Alan Grant.
You know what I just watched? Me pulling a can off some moron's fist? Return of the Jedi.
Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach?
Oh my god! You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back? Jesus Tony.
Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
Welcome. Oh, I might tell you something.
The director is John Carpenter. The year is 1983.
1983.
The film is Christine. Based on the book
Stephen King.
by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because the book came out the same year the movie came out, is what it made it sound like.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those that I think they were producing as a book the same time as the movie. So I have not read the book, but I'd like to be informed of how they overlap and how they compare since they were kind of working at the same time. This movie is fucking stacked with people that you'll recognize elsewhere. Roberts Blossom is George LeBoy. He actually sells his dead brother's car
I'm not going to tell
to
you what
Arnie
teenagers
Cunningham.
do. Oh, yeah.
And he's important because he plays Old Man Marley in Home Alone. And he's a great character actor. That's really what he's known for. So it's fun seeing him in a movie that he looks way older almost and haggard in this just because the way they've got him stylized for this.
So the film was released 7 months after the novel was published.
Okay, so probably the writing and...
They probably wrote them. He probably wrote it all first and then turned it in and made deals for it to be a studio film at the same time, just because he was already popular and they were already turning his stuff into films. So they were probably like thinking, oh, if we can release them both at the same time, that'll be a great push. So it's probably a marketing decision by a film company who was like, hey, what's your next thing you're doing?
So the other big name in this, and it's not a huge name, but John Stockwell is Dennis Gilder, and you might recognize him as Cougar from Top Gun. And he's actually done a lot of directing. He didn't have a long acting career, but he's done most of the
I didn't even recognize him until just now when you said that. That's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then Robert Prosky as Will Darnell. He's the garage owner who you will recognize as Grandpa Fred from Gremlins 2 and also Wally from The Great Outdoors.
I didn't do it. He did it.
Yeah. And then, obviously, when we circle everything back to Ghostbusters, Stephen Tash, who's the ESP guy in Ghostbusters, plays one of the thugs in this movie.
I have his autograph hanging on the wall in my living room.
Mm-hmm. So when you see that on the episode art, you'll understand why. So this movie's just stacked with a great cast.
Yeah, this is a cult classic, as they say. If you couldn't tell, this week's theme is cars and car accidents.
Mm-hmm. A killer car.
Yeah, basically. But it gets wrecked multiple times throughout this movie, too. And it also, Arnie is very sexual with the car. So I was like, man, this is actually connects to Crash very well.
Well, to the point where his girlfriend's jealous of the car.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the car's jealous of the girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And
it has it's named Christine, it's like...
And you get the same kind of background that the previous owner had issues like with his child that died in the car or something?
His child and his wife.
Yeah, his child and his wife died in the car, and then him, yeah.
Fucked up shit.
And then at the beginning, you see the car coming off the assembly line, like being possessed and like killing several people along the way. Which they don't explain why this particular car is there. I'm sure that's something that's more like in the book, but it's very Ghostbusters adjacent. It's actually a Columbia Pictures movie. Kind of the ghost theme here, like a possessed car, right? So it's very interesting.
I can hear your crotch drumming.
Oh, sorry. I can hear you scratch.
I was like, what the hell is that? I was about to yell at Nick, so...
It wasn't me.
Nick's usually just crinkling.
It wasn't me.
Reading.
Under there should be a copy about naked banging on my bathroom seat.
It wasn't me.
So Arnie is an interesting character, right? And, he's friends with Dennis, and, these two have an interesting relationship to begin the movie with, and obviously Dennis is the cool guy that's hanging out with the nerdy kid Arnie. And the thing I like about Arnie's character development in this, is he becomes more confident with stuff. He starts dressing like a 50s greaser, and he starts being a real asshole as he just gets more confident because of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of goes a long way for his character.
It's very interesting.
And then you see Dennis kind of start going like, what the fuck? Because I don't even think he gets mad or upset, but when you see him with Lee, he's playing that football game, that's when he gets his injury.
Well, that's the thing, is during that scene, I have so many different emotions about what exactly is distracting him there.
Yes.
Your initial thought is he's getting distracted by Lee, mainly.
And Lee, yeah.
Mainly Lee, because you're thinking he's jealous that Arnie is making out with Lee because he likes Lee. My second thought is immediately not the one you might think it is.
He likes Arnie.
Yes. He's totally into Arnie.
Because there's a lot of girls throwing themselves at him, and he doesn't seem to act on it through the whole movie.
And he only does it to Lee when he's pressured by the other guys.
Yep,
and
she's already got a date. And he gets really enthusiastic and stuff about dancing, so there's a little bit of undertones there.
Yeah! No, for sure.
Not that that's, I mean,
no, for sure.
I'm
That's
not
what I
trying
was
to
thinking the whole
stereotype
time when I
anything,
watched this
but
movie.
yeah.
Is,
He's into
man,
interior decorating.
He's a little... Exactly. He has a lot of butt sex, so I think he's gay. No. That was my second thought, is that he's jealous that she's making out with Arnie because he likes Arnie. And then there's also the third thought of Christine herself is distracting him, like sort of mesmerizing him so that he will fuck off and stop trying to separate him from Arnie.
Yeah, because Christine's clearly going to be jealous of Lee and of him because they're
Yeah.
both taking time away, right? So there's a whole lot of stuff going on in there.
When he tried to talk him out of buying Christine also.
Yep. And then he even goes back to George LeBoy, Dennis does, and it's like, hey, and he's like, man, you don't know anything about this car, kid. Buzz off.
Yeah.
I like his character, though. I like how they revisit that. He's just like, man, you don't understand, like, what your friend is. Like, your friend looked at the car the way my brother did, and he's just like, it's his.
Yeah.
So. The car being a murderer, though, the one funny part about this I always forget about until I watch it is when they talk about when they vandalized Christine in the car, and then they shit on the... It's like, somebody shit on the hood of the car.
I was about to say, the
dash or
dashboard.
something,
Yeah.
Remember the part where, though, they're more homoerotica? That guy gets his crotch grabbed by the other guy in the fight.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
yeah.
the fuck was the deal with that?
That's just like, what is that in Tammy and the T-Rex we watched that happen too?
Maybe.
I can't remember. I think that's what happened in that too.
Just grabs his...
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff going on in that, and it's not necessarily bad. I mean, it adds to the story of like when you understand like there's so many jealousy angles going on here. It really makes it interesting. And then people see potential in him.
The car plays music every time it's like about to murder someone too, and the thing glows green.
Yep,
kind of like that green.
And Will Darnell, he's the garage owner, and he winds up getting killed by Christine as well.
Yeah.
After it.
Boogie.
That's after the fire when he gets in it, because he gets in there and it's all fired and covered up. And then I love how the car can supernaturally heal itself too.
Yes. No, that's one of the cool scenes.
Effect too.
It's great. It works.
I'm
like
kind
I
of
don't
wondering
know.
how they did it.
Me too. I was like, wow, this is some practical effects here. I
Yes.
love this.
Yeah,
if
when
this
they-
was CGI, it'd look like shit.
Did they
When the
smash
car
shit
uncrumples
and then
itself?
play the video backwards?
They very well could have, but I don't know.
But
what
they would
smashed.
still have to cut out frames, and it didn't look like that.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it. It looked really good though.
That's dog
Yeah.
ears flapping, not Alex scrotum.
It's both. Got the peanut butter out.
I know I have fun watching this. This is like one of those.
Harry Dean Stanton as the detective. I love
Yeah.
HDS. HDS coming through. Harry Dean Stanton was a wonderful human being and an actor. So
And I love the tension he has with Arnie, because Arnie's like such a little shit with him.
he's
and
doing the
like, hey.
typical detective lines of like, "Are you sure you didn't do it, Arnie?
Yeah.
Where were you last night?
How did you match this paint? This paint hasn't existed, and you're just like, whoa.
You got the receipt?
I tossed it.
Just like my salad last night too, huh, kid?"
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No, I definitely have a good time watching this. It's Columbia Pictures. The year before Ghostbusters, it fits well in kind of that universe. You know what I mean?
This feels like something that could be like coincide in the Ghostbusters universe, right?
Oh, for sure.
Just the car itself and killing people. Like, it's a little darker than they go there, but you're also talking about the end of the world. So
Yeah.
it would fit right hand in hand there. So, and it's the same time period, so the effects are kind of the same. That same very practical, looks good, holds
Yeah.
up. No, I have fun watching. Like, I've seen this a handful of times before, and like every time I watch it, I like it more. There's just more stuff to catch in there.
Yeah,
See?
for sure.
And then the cast alone is like, holy fuck, there's so many people in there. It just works so well.
Nothing like a new car smell except maybe pussy.
Shit, maybe
Yeah.
pussy.
Yeah, that's a
That's a
hilarious
good line.
Yeah. And
Arnie
John-
repeats something like that later too. Like he's saying like something. He says something else about maybe pussy.
Yeah. This is a John Carpenter movie. He directed this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
And
JC baby.
And the music.
Mm-hmm.
The music in this I liked as well.
Well, I love the throwback, the classic old rock when they're like doing the murder scenes and stuff when the car is possessed. Like it really gives it its own character.
But you can't come in.
Because how do you take a car, something like now that when you make a 3D animation, like the car's got like nowadays I'd be scared that like the car would like wink or have eyes or some other kind of shit. Like they just have the car be the car here and like use other things to tell its story.
Futurama did a parody of this in an episode. I think it's called The Howling or The Honking. Because he turns into a were car, but when he turns into the car, it looks like Christine. And, it has, like, the steering wheel from Hitler's car, the seat from the car where JFK got shot, and the, like, front right steering wheel, or front right turn signal from Charles Manson's VW bus and shit like that. It's a whole funny thing.
The only thing missing in this movie is this car transforming into an Autobot. And it's actually, when you think of this as a Transformers movie, it's the best one they ever made.
Has anybody done like a sexy Transformer outfit?
I'm sure, probably.
Like with lingerie and like a Optimus Prime head, a big floppy dick, and big titties.
Hey, Nick, look that up on your phone.
Big old bitties.
We're going to have Nick look this up. He can be on a government watch list.
Optimus Slime.
Oh.
Yeah, type it in there. Yeah. A little more. Pull up a little
Megatrans.
And like, we're not making fun of those people.
Megatrans.
No. I'm actually trying to be inclusive. I think it'd be cool artwork to see.
Yeah.
Somebody hasn't done it. That should be the episode artwork. Oh, man.
Apparently there are transgendered Transformers in the IDW comic series.
Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Low-hanging fruit is what you call that.
I was about to say, just imagine a big swinging thing.
Well, that's the movie Christine, so...
Yeah, so before we go, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Frogbos Podcast. If you're not watching this on YouTube and you're listening on the audio feeds, go to our YouTube and subscribe at youtube.com/thefrogbros. We will be having a bunch of Twister content start hitting our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube shortly after that stuff, but you'll be able to see a lot of what we're doing this weekend in Wakita for the Twister event.
We'll be doing the podcast devoted to it. We'll hopefully have some nice interviews on there, videos, all kinds of good stuff coming up.
Exactly. A new music video.
Yes.
So, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to like the way it sounds. I
guarantee
don't guarantee it.
I guarantee it. May not like the words, but you're going to like the way it sounds.
Yeah. You got any other parting words of wisdom?
Not really.
Drink
Go out
up.
and watch Twister. It's the 25th anniversary. You should watch it this week. That way you know what we're talking about, and you can see everything that we show you.
I'm probably watching it tonight with her because I don't remember
Understand
if she's seen it or not. So
Nice.
we will check it out.
So
And we watched it on the car ride back from Des Moines a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
we might watch it on the car ride too. Wakita. Haven't decided yet.
Food. Anyway, thanks for having us in your eyeballs.
Inside your home.
These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.